So what if I climbed, or hiked, trekked more like, a mountain every day for the next 29 days? That is a question that's been coming into my consciousness for the last month since trekking around the mountain trail at Ben Ayre National Reserve in the Scottish Highlands. I've been feeling that challenge come in, but I've been in a little bit of resistance to it because of my mind feeling like it's going to be hard to do it at times. But every time I climb this mountain, so I've done it a couple of times now, I feel amazing. I get all these downloads coming in. I feel like every part of my body is moved, gets a workout. You know, it's impacting my mental body, my emotional, my spiritual and my physical body doing this trail. So I really wanted to challenge myself to this because you know, I'm kind of thinking to myself, well, I've got a lot of hours in the day when you really think about it. It takes about 2.5 hours for me to do this, about an hour there and back travelling. So it means committing around 3.5 hours of my day to this. And I certainly can do that. So I was really curious of what's going to happen. How am I going to feel each day as I do this, and how might it impact me? I feel like it's going to have a huge impact on all levels of my being. So this is day one, and I got up this morning and I'd said to myself last night, I'm starting today, and I had to face the thoughts that came up saying start tomorrow. I've got someone coming to do something at the house, but he has said I can just leave the door open for him, and so I don't need to be at the house. So I had to face it's a half an hour drive. I need to get my car in the garage as well. But I just decided not to even jump into those thoughts and dive around in them and talk myself out of it. That, you know, when we are creating change in our life, then we're going to go through a period of feeling uncomfortable. And it's actually that feeling of being uncomfortable that we actually are programmed to turn away from. And it's that which keeps a lot of people trapped doing the same thing day in, day out, that doesn't really serve their highest good. It serves a purpose because everything we do serves some kind of a purpose. There's always a secondary gain from everything that we do. So if it's an addiction, there is something that we are getting out of it at the same time as feeling that it's pulling us under. So there's always a secondary gain. However, in order to change, we have to allow ourselves to embrace what is uncomfortable, allow ourselves to feel the thoughts that come up, and just be, that's okay. You can still step forward. Anyway, so this is day one. The weather is, it's a little cloudy, but it's fine. It's peaceful. I'm really looking forward to this climb and seeing what downloads I get as I climb the mountain, what comes in. So as I share with you day one, I ask you to become aware right now. Is there something that's been coming into your consciousness over the last few weeks, months, that you know is aligned for you, that you know if you align with it, if you take those steps, it's gonna create something amazing for you? But also you have some resistance to it because in your mind you feel like it's going to be painful. So one thing to know about the mind is that it's there to protect us, right? And it wants to make sure that you survive and you stay alive on the planet. And it's been programmed ever since you were born. And we've got a lot of faulty programming in our mind due to the inverted matrix we've all grown up in. So it's for us now to start seeing that with awareness. And when you understand how the mind works, it makes it much easier. So the mind is wanting to protect you. So it's always wanting to move you away from what it perceives as being painful and dangerous, okay? So for me, like coming to the mountain every day, whilst I absolutely love being out here, you know, because I'm getting back to I'm not as in shape as I used to be. And part of my mind is saying, oh, it's going to be hard. It's going to be a lot to get up and drive here every day and climb up the mountain. It's pretty steep. But I know that's my mind just trying to keep me in my comfort zone and protect me. And I know that the consciousness, the soul, I'm actually the one that takes the driver's seat, and I can decide to go with that or not to. And I know that I am being called to do this every day, to push myself out of my comfort zone, to challenge myself, and to just share this journey with other people, to inspire them to do the same with whatever's coming up for them, and to also connect even deeper to the elementals. So I'm really connecting to the elements and the elementals, and they've got messages that they want to share with the collective. They are conscious beings just like we are. In fact, probably a lot more conscious than many humans are at this point, but that is changing. So as I go on this journey, I'm going to be bringing through messages from the mountain as well as I connect deeper to it. So understanding that the mind is trying to move you away from what's painful can help you, because as I was driving here and I was saying, oh, this is a long drive. I mean, it's not, it's like 25-30 minutes, and it's a beautiful drive as well. Do I really want to do this drive every day? And I was like, well, yeah, Corinne, I do, because, you know, I didn't think twice about doing it when I worked in the corporate world, and I would drive for an hour every day to work, sometimes longer in the traffic and back. I didn't think twice, I just did it. So why wouldn't I do that for myself now when I know it's going to create so much beautiful change and alignment for me? You know, I've moved to this incredible place in the Highlands. I have all this incredible nature around me, and really, you know, nature is my office now, and that has been true for a little while now. Nature is my office, so it's important for me to get out every day into nature. So ask yourself then, what is it that's been coming into your consciousness that you know, if you take those steps, if you make that commitment to yourself, that it's going to create something beautiful for you, but you know also there's a resistance to it. And then start to become aware of what your mind is bringing up that's resisting you doing it. Like, that's too far, like me with the drive, it's too far to drive. What if it rains? If I commit to this every day and it's pissing it down, do I really want to do it? And once you see what those thoughts are that are blocking you, then you can start observing them in a new way, from a new perspective. So you can take those thoughts, and so your first step is, what's coming in for you to do that you're in resistance to? And now start contemplating what thoughts are coming up that are those thoughts that resist it. Write those down. And then you might not do it in the moment, but then start thinking, is that true? So for me, for example, it's too far to drive. Is that true? I mean, no, it's 25 minutes each way. I would easily drive an hour to work to go to a job that was sucking the life out of me. So I can instantly dissolve that one with truth, with light, with truth, with a higher perspective. And then, well, what if it rains and I get wet? Well, so what, right? So what? Then it's going to create some new blessings and some new challenges. Like we've been so programmed away from anything that is slightly uncomfortable, but the rain is beautiful. It's water, it gives life, it helps life to grow and flourish. And when we are in water, when we are being rained on, we are being cleansed. So what if it rains? So what if I get wet, right? So I can start to break down those barriers against it. So that's first step 2, starting to open up to that which you want to take the steps to make. So we'll see if a message comes through from the mountain today, an extra message as I'm walking, and I'll add that on to the end. But this could be the message for today, and if not, I will see you on day 2. So a couple more things that are coming in as I'm walking up the mountain is one, just to add that one of the main reasons that we don't take steps forward onto something that we want to do is that we tell ourselves that we don't have time. And I do appreciate that it's different for everybody, that some people have kids to look after, full-time jobs, and I know that is not easy. You know, I've got myself to a place in my life where I've got a lot of free time from, you know, the reconnection that I've been going through with my soul and aligning with my soul's highest timeline. So I do know, however, that is one of the thoughts that keeps most people locked in the slave system. And the slave system is there to rob you of your time. So you always feel like you've got no time and you never get out of it. So you really have to be honest with yourself and look at how you spend your time. You know, what things that you do that really don't add value to your life. Often people do things because they feel obligated to do them, to go here, to go there. You know, when I absolutely changed my life and moved from working in finance, which I'd done for 22 years, you know, I'd climbed the ladder, I had a successful job, but I just knew this wasn't where I was meant to be, and I started to retrain as a hypnotherapist, and it's been a journey since that. And I had to make new choices because all my time was going on the slave system, and I had to decide to prioritize things that were going to change my life. I had to start saying no to things that I used to say yes to, and I started to do that because I started to prioritize myself, and I'm so glad that I did that. Right, so you have to, you know, I stopped binge watching Netflix, and it's not that I don't watch it ever, but I stopped binge watching. I stopped working all the hours that I was working because I'd finish and I'd be absolutely exhausted. I was doing so much overtime for free, which I know many people do, and many companies just seem to expect it, but I just had to stop doing that and prioritize myself. And through doing that, that's how I changed my life. So you have to look at your time, and you have to be honest with yourself, and you have to start prioritizing time for yourself. You know, we've got 24 hours in a day. So much is sleeping, so much, if you've got a 9-to-5 job, is working, but you have to start building in some time for yourself in that, to prioritize what it is that's coming in. So remember, this message today is what is coming in, that's been coming into your consciousness for you to do, something that you're going to change, something that you know is going to bring you fulfillment, but you've been resisting doing it, whether that's dealing with an addiction or starting to retrain in something, whatever that is, you know what that is. If you're watching this video, there is something coming into your field. And the other thing that it was just, it wanted me to bring through that, and also what was coming in was, see these as sacred rituals. Start seeing these, what we call new habits, start seeing it as a sacred ritual, because if we start realizing that everything in life is sacred, and our intention, our focus, where we put our energy, it matters, and it creates, it co-creates with the universe. Everything in our life, we are part of that creation. It doesn't happen to us, it happens because we are weaved into it. And often many people's lives are being created through subconscious fears and programs that have been programmed in. So we have to start, so in this process you're going to start to take back your power. You're going to start to dissolve some of those simply by bringing into awareness what's been coming in, and actually just doing the steps that I've said on this video, which is write down the thoughts that are coming up that are in resistance to it. I don't have time, it's going to be painful, all these things, write them down and then really start to be honest. Well, could I not do that and do this instead? Could I watch less of this and do, could I not go to this family gathering? Could I not do this weekend with my friends, or whatever it is, right? Go out drinking, whatever, and could I do this instead? So we're being honest there, and then start seeing what we're going to start do, what you're going to start doing. So I'm seeing, you know, this coming to the mountain every day. Well, this is a sacred ritual, and this is a commitment that I'm making to myself and to the elements. So see it as a sacred ritual as well. And one other thing that was coming in for me, to just add a little bit more, I said to you that the mind is programmed to move you away from what is painful, but it's what it perceives as being painful. That's an important distinction, because everyone's mind, you know, we might all have some very collective things that we perceive as being painful, like falling off a cliff, right? Collectively, most of us would realise that if we fell off a cliff, that's going to be painful, so we're going to be careful when we're at a cliff's edge, right? But also there's many things that are programmed into us from children, things we're carrying in from the ancestral line that our mind perceives as painful, that is not really truth. So that's why we have to look it in the face and say, is that really truth? And you know, like doing this, I'm like, oh, it's going to be painful if it's raining. Is it really? So what if I get wet? I can start to reprogram and say, so what if it's a little bit uncomfortable? So remember, it's what the mind perceives as pain. So you're going to see what your mind perceives as being painful, and then you've got to reframe that and realise what's going to come out of making that change. How are you going to expand your consciousness? And just be curious, because right now I know that my consciousness is going to expand through this commitment of 29 days to walking this mountain, come rain or shine, whatever I have to experience in these 29 days. I know it's going to expand my consciousness, but I don't know how exactly. So I'm curious about it. So become curious about how your life's going to transition through whatever it is you decide to, whatever's coming in, and you start to lay those foundations of commitment. Okay, so I finished day one. I just wanted to share some more in a little summary. So as I was getting closer to the bottom, I was feeling a little tired, and I was thinking, oh hell, is my body going to be able to cope with this for 29 days? And then I felt this fear. This is going to be hard, don't want to. And as I felt that fear and fought that fear, I tripped up. And I thought it was just so funny. I mean, I was fine, a bit of a graze, but I was like, wow, how interesting. As soon as I thought something that was fearful and negative, my body reacted by becoming weaker. And that's what happened. You know, this is well documented and proven as well, that, you know, negative, fearful thoughts actually weaken our bodies, start to kind of attack our bodies. After a while, it's why, you know, people end up getting into cycles of depression, anxiety. These are negative thoughts that are left unchallenged, just to run free, right? So I just thought it was so interesting that as I was coming down, I started to witness like these thoughts come in. Am I going to be able to do this? This is going to be so hard. So, you know, these kind of thoughts are going to come in as you are starting whatever it is, whatever your initiation is, whatever has been coming into you to do. But just know that, you know, right now, if you're watching this, it doesn't mean to say that tomorrow you need to start doing whatever it is that's been coming in. In fact, this series is here to prepare your mind and body to align with what your soul has been calling you to do. So through this, you can start to align with it. So it might be at the end of this that you are ready to start whatever that is, or it might happen partway through this series. So you can just know that right now, by taking the steps that I've talked about in this video, it's a preparation by recording what it is that's coming in, then starting to observe over the coming days, what is coming in to resist that, and then starting to really look at that honestly. You're actually starting to prepare, your mental, your mind, because really it is our mind, our mental body that blocks us from taking steps that we really are being guided to take by our soul. You know, there's a reason why so much is spent on programming the mind and putting programs into us, because that's what holds us hostage. So this series is going to really bring awareness to your mental body and start to dissolve those and prepare your mind body to align with what your soul is already aligned with and is calling you into. So day one, I am back at the shoreline, having completed day one. And also, it's just coming in now to say, you know, I was projecting forward when I had that fear thought and I tripped. I was thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this for the next 29 days? So that is what the mind does as well. It projects forward and it creates. So, you know, the mind doesn't know what's real or imagined. What we start to think about in our mind and see and visualize and put energy into, well, the mind is just making that, it's feeling it as if it's happening, right? Hence why I fell over and I thought, can my body handle this? So it doesn't know what's real, so we can just become aware of that. Then I started to say to myself, okay, after I got up, okay, yes, my body can handle this. I'm just going to give my body what it needs. I'm going to support my body to move through this. So, you know, so I'm actually literally climbing a mountain, right, to go through this. And you might be, well, you're going to be metaphorically climbing a mountain, but you might also be literally climbing a mountain. But I just say, okay, so what am I going to do to support my body? So I move my thought from, can my body cope with this fear thought projecting forward? I bring it back to now. So I'm bringing myself back here to the now moment, where I'm just completing day one. So I'm like, okay, well done, you've done day one. Often that's the hardest step. And I say, okay, what can I do to support my body? So you can bring in then, what can you do to support yourself? So I can have a bath when I get home. I can do some beautiful stretching. I can eat well. I can get good rest. I can do these things to support my body through this. So, okay, so that's the end of day one. I am signing off and I'll see you on day two.